Welcome back to NewsHour. I'm Rachel Rubel. A report by the United Nations Development Agency has made some observations about the quality of life around the globe. It says that despite progress being made against poverty, hunger, and disease, many societies are now becoming more and more unequal, especially concerning education technology and the effects of the climate crisis. It warns that if the widening gaps are not closed, it could result in mass social unrest from people who feel excluded. One example it gave was with regards to technology. Once a smartphone was a luxury, these days they say it is becoming a necessity. In the same report, Turkey has been ranked highly in terms of progress made on education, standards of living, and life expectancy. Here's a short video produced by the United Nations.
Once considered luxuries, these are now seen as necessities in an increasingly competitive and connected world, unfairly expedited by the effects of climate change, gender inequality, violent conflict, and the pace of technology. At this rate, widespread social unrest is imminent. So how can we stop it? By applying the same approaches used to tackle any epidemic. Targeting the root causes is essential to finding the right solutions. Preventative methods are most effective when applied early, before symptoms start to show. Plus, realigning policies and investments will help reduce or remove the impact of each inequality.
Well, as I mentioned, Turkey has come out well in this report. For the first time, it's in the high development category of the Human Development Index, ranked 59 out of 189 countries. Basically, that means that great strides have been made in terms of education, standards of living, and health of the population. Well, let's get more on this story from the UNDP's Turkey representative, Claudia Tomasi, who joins us now live. Thank you for joining us on the program. Turkey has made great progress in recent years, for example, in regards to health and education. But can it do more to reduce inequality?
Hello, good evening, and thanks for having me this evening. And as you said, Turkey has made remarkable progress in the last 30 years in the aspect of the human development. If you think about it, in 1990, a person who was born in Turkey would have an expectation of a life expectancy of 64 years. He's born this year or last year would be 77 years. So it's an increase in 13 years of lifespan. In terms of schooling, we passed from 9 years expectancy to over 16 years expectancy. In terms of GNI per capita, from 11,000 to 24,000 at purchasing parity. And these, by all means, are progresses that are important, are relevant, but they are not only belonging to Turkey. The good news is that the human development around the world has gone up in the last 30 years of about 20%. Difference is that in Turkey has gone up around 40%, so it's a double good news. Mm-hmm. Having said so, as you saw just right now in the video, there are some persistent effects of inequalities that constitute really roadblocks to human development and to the achievement of Agenda 2030. And why is that? Because some inequalities are so entrenched in our societies that pose serious problem in reaching further progress.
Mm-hmm. So given that climate change and technology factors are now...
So when we look at the case of Turkey...
Right. Climate change and technology factors are now driving divisions. Do you think Turkey needs to be more eco-friendly and play a bigger part in the fight against the climate crisis?
Well, definitely climate change is the issue of this century. And the effects of climate change, as you can see in the reports, are unequal amongst countries, unequal amongst people in one country, which unfortunately the countries causing majority of the climate change are normally the one getting the least hit by the same effects. So typically are tropical countries who are affected by extreme weather events and major disasters. Mm-hmm. And so yes, countries can do more and must do more for climate change. It's clear that we are not in target, right. We're not in line with the target that was set up in the Paris Agreement at the global level.
Certainly more to be done. The report also warns of more demonstrations on the streets because of inequality globally. And we've already seen that, for example, in Iraq, Iran, Chile, and Lebanon recently. What is Turkey doing to make sure that these same problems don't appear here?
Yeah. As you're rightly pointing out, these are global problems that are manifesting in several countries. In one country, it looks like it might be the rise in the price of gasoline. In another one, the rise in the price of transportation, or the price of the internet, or the WhatsApp. But really, what this is telling us, when we dig deeper down, we're talking about systematic exclusion of people from economy, systematic exclusion of people from political decision. So it is very wise for governments across the globe to look seriously into that and how to make sure that citizens are more included in the social, economic, and political model in their respective countries if we want to avoid further demonstration and worsening of the social unrest.
All right, Claudio Tomasi joining us from Ankara. He's the UNDP's Turkey representative. Thank you for your time. Well, now let's take a look at some other stories making headlines around the world.